Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving deep into James Clear's best-selling book, Atomic Habits. This is a game-changing guide to building good habits and breaking bad ones. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's explore the key ideas that can transform your life through the power of tiny changes. All right, let's start with the core premise of the book. Clear argues that small, incremental changes, what he calls atomic habits, can lead to remarkable results over time. He uses the analogy of an airplane taking off. A tiny shift in direction at the start of a journey can lead to a completely different destination. The same principle applies to our habits. Now, you might be thinking, sure, but I've tried to change my habits before, and it never sticks. Well, Clear has a response for that. He says, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. This is a crucial distinction. Many of us focus on setting big, audacious goals, but we don't put enough thought into the systems and processes that will get us there. Clear argues that it's these systems, our daily habits and routines, that ultimately determine our success. Let's break down the four-step pattern that underlies every habit. Cue. This is the trigger that initiates the behavior. Craving. This is the motivational force behind the habit. Response. This is the actual habit you perform. Reward. This is the benefit you gain from doing the habit. Clear calls this the habit loop, and understanding it is key to changing our behavior. But here's the thing. This loop happens so quickly and automatically that we often don't even realize it's happening. That's why the first step to changing our habits is becoming aware of them. One tool Clear suggests for this is the habit scorecard. This is simply a list of your daily habits, each one noted as positive, negative, or neutral. The goal isn't to change anything at first, just to notice what you're actually doing. It's like turning on the lights in a dark room. Suddenly you can see everything that's there. Now, once we're aware of our habits, how do we actually change them? Clear provides 4 laws of behavior change, which are essentially an expanded version of the habit loop. Make it obvious, which is related to cue. Make it attractive, which is related to craving. Make it easy, which is related to response. Make it satisfying, which is related to reward. Let's dive into each of these laws in more detail. The first law, make it obvious. Clear argues that many of our habits are invisible to us because they're so ingrained in our daily routines. To change a habit, we first need to make it visible. One way to do this is through what Clear calls implementation intentions. This is a plan you make beforehand about when and where to act. Instead of saying, I'm going to eat healthier, you say, I will eat a piece of fruit with lunch every day. This specificity makes the habit more concrete and easier to follow through on. Another powerful technique is habit stacking. This involves pairing a new habit you want to form with a current habit you already do. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. The existing habit becomes the cue for the new habit. Clear also emphasizes the importance of environment design. Many of our habits are context dependent, so changing our environment can make a big difference. If you want to read more, keep a book on your bedside table. If you want to eat healthier, put fruit in a visible place in your kitchen. The idea is to make the cues for your good habits obvious and visible. The second law, make it attractive. This law is all about making our habits appealing. Clear introduces the concept of temptation bundling, which involves linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do. For example, only listening to your favorite podcast while at the gym. He also talks about the role of social norms in shaping our habits. We tend to imitate the habits of 3 groups: the close, family and friends, the many, the tribe, and the powerful, those with status and prestige. This is why joining a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior can be so effective. If you want to be fit, join a running club. If you want to be a better coder, join a coding meetup. Clear also dives into the neuroscience of pleasure and reward. He explains how dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with motivation and pleasure, plays a crucial role in habit formation. Interestingly, dopamine is released not only when we experience pleasure, but when we anticipate it. This is why the anticipation of a reward, not just the reward itself, can become a powerful driving force in our habits. The third law, make it easy. This law is based on the idea that the most effective form of learning is practice, not planning. Clear emphasizes that we should focus on taking action, not being in motion. Motion is when you're planning, strategizing, and learning. Action is the type of behavior that will deliver an outcome. One of the most impactful ideas in this section is the 2-minute rule. This states that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is to make your habits as easy as possible to start. Read 1 page, meditate for 1 minute, do 1 push-up. Once you've started doing the right thing, it's much easier to continue doing it. Clear also talks about the importance of reducing friction. Decrease the number of steps between you and your good habits, and increase the number of steps between you and your bad habits. I want to eat healthier. Chop up veggies and put them in containers at the start of the week. I want to waste less time on social media. Delete the apps from your phone. The fourth law, make it satisfying. The final law is about making your habits satisfying. This is crucial because we're more likely to repeat a behavior when the experience is satisfying. Clear points out that while we know intellectually that our habits are good for us in the long run, our brains are wired to prioritize immediate rewards over delayed rewards. This is why it's so hard to stick to good habits. The reward is often delayed. To combat this, Clear suggests adding a little bit of immediate pleasure to the habits that pay off in the long run. For example, if you want to save money, every time you avoid an unnecessary purchase, transfer that money to a savings account labeled trip to Paris or whatever motivates you. This way, you get an immediate positive feeling associated with the habit. Another powerful technique is habit tracking. This could be as simple as marking an X on a calendar every day you stick to your habit. Clear says, "Don't break the chain" can be a powerful motivator. It's also satisfying to see your progress visually represented. Now, let's talk about how to break bad habits. Clear suggests essentially inverting the 4 laws. Make it invisible. Make it unattractive. Make it difficult. Make it unsatisfying. For example, if you want to watch less TV, take the batteries out of the remote and put them in a drawer. This makes the cue invisible and the response more difficult. If you want to quit smoking, hang out with non-smokers who find the habit unattractive. If you want to cut back on junk food, imagine how sick you'll feel after eating it, making the reward unsatisfying. One of the most interesting parts of the book is when Clear discusses identity-based habits. He argues that the most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you wish to become. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to be. I want to become a reader. Start by reading 1 page a night. After a few nights, you'll start to build evidence that you are indeed a reader. This leads to what Clear calls the 2-step process for changing your identity. 1. Decide the type of person you want to be. 2. Prove it to yourself with small wins. The idea is that once you believe in a particular aspect of your identity, you're more likely to act in alignment with that belief. It's a powerful shift from, "I'm trying to quit smoking," to, "I'm not a smoker." Clear also discusses the importance of habit stacking and creating a solid foundation of atomic habits before trying to tackle bigger challenges. He uses the analogy of clay being molded into a sculpture. At first, you can make big changes easily, but as the clay begins to harden, it becomes more difficult to alter its shape. The same is true with habits. In the beginning, you can experiment with different behaviors and find what works for you. But once habits become established, they're much harder to change. That's why it's crucial to get them right from the start. Another fascinating concept Clear introduces is the idea of the habit line. This is the point at which a habit becomes automatic. Before this point, a habit requires effort and concentration. After this point, it becomes more automatic than conscious. The goal is to push through the valley of disappointment, where you're putting in effort but not seeing results, to reach this habit line. Clear also talks about the Goldilocks rule of habit formation. This states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, Not too easy, but just right. This is why it's important to continuously adjust your habits as you improve, always pushing yourself just beyond your comfort zone. One of the challenges of maintaining good habits over the long term is boredom. Clear points out that successful people feel the same lack of motivation as everyone else. The difference is that they still find a way to show up despite the feelings of boredom. Professionals stick to the schedule. Amateurs let life get in the way. Now, let's talk about something that might seem counterintuitive: the downside of good habits. Clear points out that habits can be a double-edged sword. While they're incredibly useful for automating behavior and freeing up mental space, they can also lead to mindless repetition if we're not careful. This is particularly problematic when we're trying to achieve mastery in a field. At some point, we need to combine habits with deliberate practice to continue improving. Clear suggests using a process of reflection and review to stay conscious of your performance over time. This could involve an annual review where you look back at your habits and assess what's working and what isn't. It's about striking a balance between building solid habits and remaining flexible enough to adjust when necessary. Another important aspect of habit formation that Clear discusses is the role of talent and genes. While he acknowledges that our genes play a role in our behavior, he argues that they don't determine our destiny. Instead, they determine our areas of opportunity. The key is to work on habits that align with your natural abilities and tendencies. This doesn't mean avoiding areas where you're weak, but rather focusing your energy on habits that come more naturally to you. Clear also addresses the common question of how long it takes to form a habit. He points out that this is actually the wrong question to ask. Instead of focusing on time, we should focus on frequency. It's not about how long you've been practicing a habit, but how many times you've practiced it. This is why consistency is so crucial in habit formation. One of the most powerful ideas in the book is the concept of decisive moments. These are the choices we make that deliver an outsized impact on our lives. For example, the moment you decide to go to the gym or not, or the moment you choose between ordering takeout and cooking a healthy meal. By understanding and optimizing these moments, we can have a significant impact on our overall trajectory. Clear also discusses the importance of creating a motivation ritual. This is a pre-game routine that gets you in the right mindset to perform. It could be as simple as taking 3 deep breaths before starting work, or listening to a particular song before working out. The idea is to create a series of actions that you always perform before doing a particular habit, which can help reduce friction and make starting easier. Another interesting concept is the idea of the plateau of latent potential. This is the idea that habits often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold and unlock a new level of performance. It's like an ice cube melting. You can raise the temperature from 25 to 31 degrees and see no change, but then at 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. Our habits often work the same way, which is why it's so important to persist even when we're not seeing immediate results. Clear also talks about the importance of embracing boredom. Many people quit their habits because they get bored, but boredom is often a predecessor to great creativity and innovation. By pushing through the boredom, we often reach new levels of performance. One of the most practical parts of the book is Clear's discussion of habit tracking. He suggests using a simple system like marking an X on a calendar for each day you perform your habit. This serves multiple purposes. It creates a visual cue that reminds you to act. It's motivating to see your progress, and it feels satisfying to record another successful instance of your habit. Clear also addresses the issue of failing at our habits. He emphasizes the importance of never missing twice. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. The goal isn't to be perfect, but to win more often than not. Towards the end of the book, Clear discusses advanced tactics for mastering complex skills. He introduces the idea of habit stacking 2.0, where you take several habits and combine them into a single routine. This can be a powerful way to make significant changes in your life without feeling overwhelmed. He also talks about the importance of knowing when to keep your habits the same and when to change them. As your identity evolves, some habits that were once useful might become limiting. It's important to periodically review your habits and ensure they're still serving you. One of the final concepts Clear introduces is the idea of a habit scorecard. This is a simple exercise where you list out all your daily habits and score them as positive, negative, or neutral. This can be a powerful way to gain awareness of your current behaviors and identify areas for improvement. In conclusion, Atomic Habits is a comprehensive guide to understanding and changing our habits. Clear's central argument is that small, consistent changes can lead to remarkable results over time. By focusing on the systems and processes that lead to success, rather than just the goals themselves, we can make lasting changes in our lives. The 4 laws of behavior change: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying, provide a framework for creating good habits and breaking bad ones. By understanding the habit loop of cue, craving, response, and reward, we can intervene at any stage to influence our behavior. Clear emphasizes the importance of identity in habit formation. By focusing on becoming the type of person who performs a particular habit, rather than just focusing on the habit itself, we can create more lasting change. Every action we take is a vote for the type of person we want to become. The book also highlights the importance of environment in shaping our habits. By designing our environment to make good habits obvious and easy and bad habits invisible and difficult, we can set ourselves up for success. Clear doesn't shy away from addressing the challenges of habit formation. He acknowledges the difficulty of pushing through boredom and the plateau of latent potential, where we don't see results for a long time, but he provides strategies for overcoming these challenges like habit tracking and never missing twice. Ultimately, Atomic Habits is about more than just productivity or self-improvement. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves. By mastering the art of small changes, we can radically transform our lives over time. As Clear puts it, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So, there you have it, a comprehensive overview of Atomic Habits by James Clear. Whether you're looking to build new habits, break old ones, or simply understand the mechanics of behavior change, this book offers valuable insights and practical strategies. Remember, it's not about making perfect changes, but about consistently improving by 1% each day. Over time, these atomic habits compound into remarkable results. Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive into Atomic Habits. Until next time, keep building those positive habits, one small step at a time.